When it comes to quiet luxury and contemporary elegance, Swiss watchmaker Longines stands out with over 190 years of crafting fine timepieces for dress, sport, and adventure. Throughout its history, women of distinction, including aviation pioneer Amelia Earhart, Academy Award winner Jennifer Lawrence, and alpine skier Michaela Schifrin, have relied on Longines for their timekeeping needs. One of Longines' most sought-after models, the Mini Dolce Vita, continues this tradition as an icon of the Art Deco era, blending elegance and functionality. The collection is a modern extension of the original Dolce Vita, inspired by a Longines legend from 1927. You can choose the classic stainless steel case or opt for the eye-catching diamond bezel. So, if you're looking for that perfect gift for a special someone or treating yourself this holiday season, visit Topper Jewelers to explore the full collection of Longines watches for women. Mention this ad for a special surprise that will make your experience memorable.
We always look forward. You shot me a text yesterday and said, hey, Greg Pryor's going to be on the show with us today. And I was sitting there, I literally stood up and went, yeah. And my son looked at me and goes, what's going on? I said, Greg Pryor's going to be on with us again tomorrow. I love that guy. And you'll love him, too, if you haven't heard him before. Maybe you already do. Greg Pryor, former Major League Baseball infielder, 10 years in the show. And about 10,000 stories to go along with it. And he's kind enough to carve time out of a busy day to be on with us. Greg, good morning.
Hey, Riley and Joe, great to be with you guys again. And hello, White Sox fans and any baseball fans, because it's summer, it's getting warm, and the races are heating up, and it's wonderful to watch baseball.
What do you think about looking at the White Sox and the Cubs, who are competing in spite of what early predictions were?
Well, obviously, with the White Sox, there's a lot of news over the winter when they hired Tony La Russa, and they had this great team coming back that made the playoffs for the first time in 12 years last year. And then they hired Tony as a 76-year-old manager, and all the haters came out. It was unfortunate for me to read it, because he was my manager for 300 and some games when he started his managerial career in Chicago. I played shortstop in his first win as a White Sox manager. So I felt very, very young when Tony was hired, because I'm 71 now, and he was just 5 years older than me when he got hired. So I watched him over the years, and I'm just so glad that the players have shown up for him. The White Sox in first place, 4.5 games in front of the Indians, and it's a two-team race in the American League Central, and it's either the White Sox or the Indians, it looks like. So it's going to be a fun season, and I hope the White Sox can prevail unless my Royals come back. But they're 6 games under, which is not easy right now for them. They're 1-9 here in Kansas City, so in their last 10 games. So it's been a tough road recently for my Kansas City Royals.
You mentioned the haters came out when the White Sox hired Tony La Russa. I will put myself in the group of haters. I didn't think it was a great hire. I still don't think it was optically a wonderful hire for the White Sox. And there were some there were some bumps along the way. We had the Yerman Mercedes 3-0 count, in the 15-run game that playing by the rules of baseball. But it seems that the players like him. The players have kind of adopted him and welcomed him into the fold. I guess my question to you: you've been around, you've been to a lot of clubs. How much of an impact does a manager actually have over winning and losing baseball games?
Well, I played for like 16 different managers, and what I feel is the way it goes is over the course of a season, a manager can have an effect on a team. If the team is in sort of a funk, and the manager can kind of get him out of it. A lot of managers don't have team meetings. I don't remember a lot of team meetings with Tony. I certainly don't remember a lot of team meetings with Dick Hauser, who managed the '85 Royals that I was on to the World Series win. Most managers like to get players that know how to play the game, and if players know how to play the game, and most of them don't, but unfortunately they learn as they go. We all learned. The manager becomes less of an importance, because he can't hit, he can't throw, he can't run, he can't make plays when they need to be made, and that's where the game, I think, should be focused on is how the players are playing the game. It's not the hitting coach's job to tell a guy how to hit or not. It's not the pitch hit. All the coaches, all the managers, they get too much credit and too much blame, and I've always thought that.
Greg, you mentioned the multitude of managers that you played for. Did they run the entire spectrum? Who was the easiest going manager, and who was the biggest hard ass?
Well, the easiest going manager I had was Bob Lemon. Bob Lemon was my manager in '78 in Chicago. He was a Hall of Fame pitcher, as every baseball fan should remember. And he was about as easy going as it got because I never saw him run on the field and start arguing. He wasn't very volatile in the dugout. And the thing that he did for me that really, really helped me was one time when I was a rookie with the White Sox, I played short, and I made 2 errors to let 5 runs in. We lost the game because of my 2 errors. And as a player that was not a rookie until he was 29, and I played 7 years in the minor leagues. I thought my career was over because in the big leagues a lot of times, if you're not a phenom, you get you don't get another chance if you can't do it the first couple of days you play. So after the game that I made those 2 errors, Bob Lemon walked up to me and he put his hand on my shoulder and he looked right at me. He goes, "Hey, you're in there tomorrow night. Go get them." And that's all he said, and it meant the world to me. And when I left the ballpark that night, I felt forgiven, like I went to confessional, and then the next night, as I took the field, I remembered what he said. He was behind me, so I just told myself, Greg, do the things you did in the minor leagues to get you here, and this allow your body to do the job. And so I say Bob Lemon was the most mild-mannered guy because of that one experience I had. And the most volatile was Tony, really. So Tony La Russa, he had a desire to win like I don't think I've ever seen any manager have. If an opposing team, back in the day, and I don't know if he ever did this, back in the day when I was with Tony in Chicago, if an opposing team hit one of our batters and Tony didn't like it, he would take a bat and start beating the bat rack in the dugout just as a signal to let the other team know that their time was coming.
Wow.
He would, and it kind of rubbed off, even though he was kind of green as a manager, and like he used to go out of the dugout, and when he was out to argue, he would turn around to the bench real quick, and he'd say, "Was the outer safe? Was the outer safe?" And he wanted us to give him the right answer on his way out to argue, and we started laughing about it. It was so funny. But I didn't put that in my book, but I'll probably put that in my next book. But Tony was always eager to win the games. He was, and it rubbed off. So I would say Lemon was the easiest, and La Russa had the most fire. But now I don't think Tony shows much fire because he's learned that. Showing that he didn't need to show the fire, he just needs the players to show the fire.
So he's grown.
Well, of course we have. Most people try to mature as they age, and Tony winning World Series in Oakland and St. Louis, and having the second most wins in history. Tony should be loving every day right now. What's he got? He had everything to lose and nothing to gain by taking that job, and I commend him for it. No matter what his past was, no matter what the people thought that they should get. People don't know how to manage Major League Baseball games. I don't know. I've never done it, and no fan listening right now has ever managed a Major League Baseball game. So enjoy the team, and take the importance off of Tony and put it on your team and how the team plays against the other team, and that people will enjoy the game more if they just let Tony alone.
So let's get into the big baseball story that happened. It's been happening for a while, but it came to a point yesterday. That's the sticky stuff that's been going around in pitchers' hands. When I texted you yesterday and asked about the sticky stuff, you brought up the story about your old teammate Vida Blue having pine tar all over his glove. But that's what we've heard all through this thing, that this has been going on forever. Pitchers have been using stuff on the ball for as long as they've been playing. How much do you know about the new stuff, the spider tack, maybe some of the new stuff that they're using right now? Is that different from what was going on when you were playing? And how prevalent was it when you were playing? Were all the pitchers doing it, or was it just a handful?
Well, I'm more aware of the players that were corking their bats than they were. Well, I mean, both sides cheated. I mean, I played with players that corked their bats. I can name two of them, but I'm not going to. And I played with pitchers that I had one pitcher in Chicago one time that wanted me to rake the ball when I got it at third base. See if the ball went around the infield, and I got at third base. This pitcher came up to me in the clubhouse one time. He goes, Pryor, I'm going to give you these really small nails. I want you to push these nails through your glove, inside your glove, and when you get the ball, rub it across those nails to scuff the ball up. So I've been aware of pitchers trying to cheat for a long time. I played with Gaylord Perry in '76 in Texas, and I played with Gaylord in Chicago in '83. And Gaylord, he admitted he was cheating. I mean, I think he even wrote a book about throwing a spitter. Now, a lot of times, in the course of baseball, the pitchers were accused of throwing a spitter. Well, it got a lot more advanced. Pitchers tried to find ways to cut the ball on the mound. In the case of Vida Blue that you're talking about, when he got traded to the Royals, and I sat next to him when he started his games here in Kansas City. And he would take his glove and take our pine tar rag, and take that rag and just rub it all over the inside of his glove. He wanted as much pine tar on that glove as George Brett wanted it on his bat when he got fired for kicked out of the pine tar bat.
Which you were there for, by the way.
Yeah, you were there for that one.
Yeah, I played in the disco game and pine tar game. Those are my two claims to fame. And but Vida, I didn't think anything of Vida using pine tar because, I said to myself, well, if players can use pine tar on the bats, why can't the pitchers put pine tar on their glove? I didn't think anything of it. But let's go back to when baseball started. Pitchers used to grab dirt and throw dirt down, or when that famous rosin bag got instituted. Do they even use rosin bags in the big leagues now? Do they have a rosin bag on the mound?
Oh yeah,
yep.
Well, it's probably. I think they could do away with that rosin bag because I don't remember guys going out and grabbing it. But the reason why they have that rosin bag is because if a pitcher's hand gets wet or he starts, in a real hot day, he wants to keep that hand dry. So now I think the players have kind of like taken a shortcut from the rosin bag to these magical ointments that make the ball spin better. And in my opinion, I don't know who got the word back to the home office there in Major League Baseball, but unless this residue or whatever is on the ball when it comes to the blade, if you can see it on the ball, then that's a different thing than it is trying to keep your hand dry on the mound. If I was a pitcher and I could find some little tacky stuff that would make my hand a little bit more tacky so I could feel the ball more, I would probably use it. I don't know whether the players complained about the pitchers using the tacky stuff or not, but I think it's blown out of proportion, and maybe it helps some players more than others. I don't know, but if pine tar helps batters, then they all can use it because there's a lot of things that players put on bats other than pine tar that make the bat more sticky. So it's kind of like whether you're a pitching kind of a fan or you're a hitting kind of a fan. But I don't care if as long as the stuff is not on the ball when it hits home plate.
I forget who the player was, but you had mentioned Gaylord Perry, and it might have been George Brett who talked about being at the plate, and Gaylord Perry comes in with one, and he literally watched a rainbow form around it as it was headed for home plate.
Hey, Gaylord Perry was one of the most incredible ball players I ever played with because he won a Cy Young in both leagues, and I think Gaylord Perry could have been a winner without throwing that spitter. And it really wasn't a spitter because in my first book, The Day the Yankees Made Me Shave, that I wrote an article about sitting next to Gaylord when he applied this ointment between innings to his neck. He took the tube out of his jacket. He laid the jacket in front of him so nobody could see but somebody sitting next to him on the bench, which I was like 15 feet from him. I was watching him. And he took this tube out and he squirted it on his hand. and he took his hand and he rubbed this ointment on his neck. And I'm thinking, well, that's a weird thing. Maybe he's got a stiff neck. Well, if you remember how Gaylord Perry pitched, he would take his fingers and his thumb, whatever, and he would like rub his forehead with his thumb. He'd rub his hair with his thumb, and he would rub the back of his neck with his thumb. Well, he would put that ointment on the back of his thumb, and then he would transfer it to his pitching fingers, as you can do right now. If you just try to imagine taking your index finger and your middle finger and rubbing it across your thumb, your thumbnail, you can put. And he knew exactly how much to put on there to get the effect that he wanted. It wasn't much. And I think by the time it got to home plate, it disappeared. I don't think they ever found a spit or anything else on Gaylord's pitches. But I remember a time in Texas in '76 where he struck out Reggie Jackson on, I'll call them spitters, but it wasn't really spit. It was some magical ointment in some tube that looked like Vaseline, but it wasn't Vaseline. He struck Reggie out, and Reggie went crazy and threw his helmet over the home plate, and he got thrown out of the game. And then Gaylord comes in after the performance, and the catcher Jim Sundberg walks up to him, and I was watching their lips when they were talking, and Sundberg says, "Gaylord, pretty close call out there," because the umpire had gone out to check Gaylord's hands when he, Reggie made him go out and check Gaylord, and Gaylord was innocent. He looked guilty, but he was innocent. And Gaylord looked to Sundberg and he says, "Yeah, Sonny, it's a good thing they didn't check the back of my thumbnail."
Wow.
No, all these pitchers have ways to try to get that ball to dip and turn and whatever. And I think it's fun. It's fun for baseball. They did it in the old days, and they're going to continue to do it. But if they get caught, it's embarrassing. There's been guys caught with little small balls coming out of their bat when they break their bat, and their bat's been corked. So I'm sure there's cork bats in big leagues going in there in the games today, and I think that there'll be pitchers that are doctoring the ball today, and I don't think it'll ever stop.
So one more question before you go. In baseball, it seems like if you're not cheating, you're not really trying. The last 20 years, I think we've seen maybe 4 distinct forms of quote-unquote cheating. We have maybe pitchers doctoring up the ball. We have the sign stealing incidents we had with the Astros, Red Sox, and other teams. We had the cork bat, what you just said, and we had the steroid era about 20 years ago. Which is the most unacceptable for a former player?
Well, you forgot amphetamines, which belong in the top 5, because I think without amphetamines, there's a lot of teams that wouldn't have won the World Series, and I won't get into that. But
both days.
But those most unacceptable one, in my opinion, would be a pitcher that cuts the ball because of this reason. We've seen guys get hit in the face this year with balls, and as a guy that has gotten hit with 95-mile-an-hour fastballs in my temple in my life, I really it's close to death. Whether fans can feel it or not, the players know it, but for some reason. We're so dumb we get over it. We don't have any fear of the baseball, or we wouldn't play in Major League Baseball. But I think that the reason why I say cutting the ball is because the pitcher really has has less control over where it's going. And if a player was put on the disabled list because of being hit with a cut ball, that'd be pretty dastardly. And even though I'm not saying I wouldn't do it as a pitcher, I think that's one of the most worst things that can happen as far as cheating.
Craig,
you might say, "Well, Craig, what about steroids?" Well, we don't have time to talk about the steroids thing because it's another show. I'll do that the next time I come on your show if I do. But I think that the doctor and the ball, so they really don't know where it's going, endangers the hitters, and that's not fair.
Greg, before we let you go, with Father's Day right around the corner, copies of your book still available?
Yeah, I sold the 60 books this weekend in Salina I helped indoctrinate a baseball stadium down there. I went down to Salina from Kansas, and my baseball book, I'll ship it today if you want to order. It's The Day the Yankees Made Me Shave.com, and tell me who you want to inscribe it to. I can sit here and wait for the orders to come in and send it out to your favorite father or whoever whoever's been a father. The Day the Yankees Made Me Shave.com, and whether you're sending it for Father's Day or for yourself, it's 27 stories about when I played for the White Sox and the Royals and the Yankees and the Rangers. And it's just stories that happen to me like I'm telling you about. But one of the stories in my book, I'll tell you quickly about getting ahead. One of the stories in my book is called The Day That a Pitcher Tried to Kill Me. And it was Ed Farmer, the former, he's not here now. Mm-hmm. And Ed Farmer was the announcer for the White Sox for many years. And in AAA, he tried to kill me one night. And he got traded to the White Sox 2 years later, and I met him in the clubhouse. He was locker next to me. I told the clubhouse guy, and I said, I don't want that guy locker next to me. And we talked it over, and he admitted, I wrote the story, and he approved it. So it's in my book, The Day Ed Farmer Tried to Kill Me, and you can get it at thedaytheyankeesmademeshave.com.
Yeah, you don't want to miss out on this opportunity. An outstanding book. Greg, as always, we appreciate you being so quick to respond and come on to the show with us. It's always a delight talking to you, and we'd love to have you back again.
Well, I hope the Cubs and the White Sox get in the playoffs. It'll be an exciting summer for the fans there, and I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. And happy Father's Day to all the fathers that are listening. Thanks for having me, guys.
And to you, too. Thanks, Greg. There's Greg Pryor.
At Merrill West Credit Union, we're working towards a brighter financial future for both our members and our community, knowing that when you succeed, we all succeed. Let's get acquainted with our Premier Savings for new members, now paying over 20 times the national average. Another great reason to move your money to a credit union. Learn more at merrillwest.com/Premier Savings. Merrill West Credit Union, working for you. Today, tomorrow, together. Insured by NCUA.